Alan Wake 2 is a game about contrasts. Not only the difference in the worlds inhabited by the story's two protagonists, Sega Anderson and the titular Alan Wake himself, but how it switches from pumping your adrenal glands using a slow build of dread to sudden jump scares, from combing over reams of evidence and meticulous investigations to surprisingly high-tempo combat sequences. Then there's the environments. The incredibly lush forests around Cauldron Lake that Sega spends a lot of her time in couldn't possibly be more different than the neon-lit grime of New York, where Alan spends most of his. Then there's the contrast between the tech behind the original game and in the sequel. As much as I love the original, the sequel is ambitious in ways that weren't even possible 13 years ago. If Alan Wake was a lake, Alan Wake 2 is an ocean, deeper and more impressive in every single way. The way Remedy combines visuals and audio to push a growing level of dread is outstanding. That half-heard sound and the music rising in a slow swell of strings, it's classic horror movie stuff that's all too often overlooked in games. What I loved about Alan Wake 2. I can't say enough about how stunning this game is. Environments changing in front of your eyes, including gorgeous full-motion sequences that bleed into the rendered world. Easily the nicest looking game Remedy's ever made. The audio package, stellar across the board, with excellent music, and I love to see Old Gods of Asgard again, but it's the deft use of audio to build tension that really stands out for me. Every time the strings started in, it was a jolt of adrenaline straight to the system. The story. Delivered through a combination of in-game action and live action, the story in Alan Wake 2 goes places.
I've been trying to shape the dark place around me, but so much fades away. Even my memory of the process, washed away by dark waves. But some things remain. The darkest, nastiest elements, like the murder site. It's my goal, a stepping stone to travel deeper to escape. Write a narrative that takes me there. Casey will lead me to it.
If you've played Alan Wake or Alan Wake American Nightmare or Quantum Break or Control, you know Remedy tends to wander a bit in their storytelling. And a game like this, where much of it feels like you are writing the story as you go, it's something to experience. What I liked. The Mind Palace and Writer's Room. Interesting implementation, especially as I'm a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes and this space within my mind to figure things out idea. Combat refines instead of discards what was in the original game, and it doesn't have any of the clunkiness from 13 years ago. Pulling off a perfect dodge and then nailing a weak point bullseye on the back of a Fallen felt amazing. What I disliked, some minor performance issues at times, but playing in 30 frames per second quality mode, it was largely a smooth experience. What I hated, nothing at all.
A sick and twisted story, but it worked. The subway car had become a burnt husk. I could get through it now.
I can't recommend Alan Wake 2 highly enough to fans of the original, but even if you skipped out on that game, Quantum Break and Control, all set within the same Remedy universe, consider this a must-play for fans of survival horror.